Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about what it looks like to have a Mercury Mahadasha. So in this video I will be showing you a short excerpt from my course on Vedic Astrology. If you're interested to learn more about that, it is down below in the description along with the comments. But this is just a short little excerpt to give you an idea of what this period will look like for you, what lessons will come up, how will this affect you, depending on is this a good Mercury in your chart or a bad Mercury. So if you enjoy this, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. During a Mercury Mahadasha, this is happening right after a Saturn Mahadasha, and this is a 17-year period. And this is a situation where we're using all of the same factors except for karma. Mercury does not carry any sort of karma, but Mercury being the most neutral of all the planets, you always want to look at the planetary association with Mercury, because Mercury can easily be influenced by other planets. So it can take on the energies and influences of another planet. And that's really what's going to tell you the results of this Mahadasha period. You also, if Mercury is in its own sign, you also want to look to Rahu. So if Mercury is in Gemini or if it is in Virgo, you can't judge from there because those are neutral. So you have to look to what sign is Rahu in. Now, the best positions for Mercury during a Mercury Mahadasha period tend to be the 5th house, the 9th house, and the 11th house. The 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house are the most difficult. The theme overall for a Mercury Mahadasha is fun, playfulness, change, adaptability, friendship, right? Because we're coming out of this very serious, intense Saturn Mahadasha. So things tend to lighten up when we come into a Mercury Mahadasha. This becomes more of a fun, changeable, playful type of Mahadasha. And particularly if you have Mercury positioned in a good place, and again, all of this is going to pertain to what planets are involved with Mercury also. Because if you have Mercury being influenced by a malefic, then Mercury becomes a functional malefic in your chart. So if there is a good position of Mercury, then there tends to be a desire to learn, right? During this time period, you always are going to want to learn new skills. You're going to want to take on new interests. Some people might be interested in some scientific or computer interests because Mercury is a very scientific planet. Right? Mercury is all about logic. Now, also, you might find that this is a time where you're curious to try out new avenues. So things that you were never interested in before, all of a sudden during a Mercury Mahadasha period, you start to take on new interests. This also is a time where typically your career tends to be successful. Because remember that Mercury is also a karka for career. However, again, Mercury is neutral. So depending on how Mercury functions for your career depends on the planets that are involved. But typically it gives success in your career. And it also tends to be a time where you might want to seek self-employment. Mercury doesn't really like to be tied down, right? Mercury is a quick-moving, changeable planet. It likes change, it likes variety. So you might find yourself wanting to be independent at this time, wanting to have more change and excitement in your life. You may find yourself interested in travel, and this could be long distance travel or short distance travel. Either one of those tends to happen during a Mercury Mahadasha. You also might find that you're more intellectual during this time. You're more charming, more agile in your thinking, able to negotiate better, all of these things. Mercury is a very charming planet. So this can happen during a Mercury Mahadasha, where you're able to get out of sticky situations, you have more confidence, you're more charming, you're able to get things that you want more, you're able to take on various different projects at a time. Mercury also is the significator of multitasking. So you might find that you want to take on a lot of different things at this time. You might find a quick rise to fame. Again, Mercury is a significator of career. This might also be a time where you find yourself needing multiple different streams of income. So again, Mercury likes variety. So during this time, if you're only getting your income from one place, that might not work for you. You might need to have multiple different projects or multiple different jobs that you have in place to attract wealth in. This also could be a great time of meeting new people, particularly people who will help you in career, people who will give you new skills in your life. So you can find your circle expanding, where you're networking more, meeting new people, right? If you were in that Saturn Mahadasha period and you felt more isolated and more lonely because you were in your work, this can be a more social time, a more friendly time for you. If Mercury is in a negative position, then we tend to see people speaking harsh words. The reason being is because Mercury is that significator of communication. And so this can give you negative results. If you are sarcastic, if you're being mean and demeaning to others, if you're speaking harsh and foul language, all of that can give you bad results. And this tends to happen when Mercury is negatively placed. If you have a negatively placed Mercury, it can also give you an unstable mental state of mind, right? Because not only is the moon the significator of the mind, but Mercury is your logical thinking. So during this time, you could experience a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of agitation. Things can feel very unstable, lots of ups and downs, bipolar moments, depression. All of this can arise during a Mercury Mahadasha period. You might also find that you're taking on too many new projects where you're stressing yourself out. And so even though you're open to all these changes, sometimes those who have Mercury in a negative position don't like change, and that can bring about difficulties. And health-wise, this can tend to bring about insomnia. Again, Mercury is quick moving, so this can make your mind run a lot during a Mercury Mahadasha, particularly if your Mercury is negatively positioned. So you may suffer some issues around insomnia, stress, worry, fear. All of these things can arise. You can see skin issues even. Some asthma can happen because Gemini is also connected to the lungs. So all of these things can arise during a Mahadasha period. You can find yourself in unexpected situations. And so this is really a period where you want to make sure you're checking all the fine print, that you are reading all the details, because Mercury is so quick that you can get into situations where you're being tricked or fooled into making risky decisions. Now, some of the remedies for a Mercury Mahadasha period, particularly if you have it in a negative position, or if you're experiencing some difficulties or complications, are going to be giving to charity. Fasting on Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of Mercury. Doing some meditation, taking moments of silence, particularly if you're speaking harsh words or finding that you're having a lot of anger, a lot of anxiety, a lot of aggression, where some of your words that are coming out are very harsh, then you might need to take vows of silence during the day. This will really help to give some good results. And emptying the mind, again, meditation is great, de-stressing, anything that is going to bring a sense of comfort into your life where your mind is comfortable and stable, that is really going to help you. And particularly during a Mercury Mahadasha period, you want to do all these remedies before the Mahadasha because of how quick and changeable this Mercury Mahadasha becomes. The best time typically for a Mercury Mahadasha is during childhood or within the late 20s and 30s. Reason being is because Mercury is the child within the planetary cabinet. And so this tends to be the best time where you can have the most fun, you can enjoy life. As life becomes more serious and mature and you have more responsibilities, it becomes more difficult with all of these different changes and variables going on during a Mercury Mahadasha period.